So what controls the rate at which the heart beats? We can talk about two main ways of regulation of heartbeat or the heart rate. The first is hormonal regulation. When you see a snake, you get frightened, your heart starts to beat very fast. That is because of hormones. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are two fright hormones that are secreted in response to the fight-flight situation. Okay? So when you see a frightening situation, your heart beats very fast because hormones from the adrenal medulla, that is from the adrenal glands, they are released such that the heart can pump very fast, such that you have sufficient cardiac output such that you can run or fight back. Thyroxine is also another hormone that is very important in regulating the rate of metabolism, especially increasing basal metabolic rate. And this will basically indirectly impacts on the rate of heart rate or the rate of heartbeat and the cardiac output. So that's about hormones. Now we'll talk about the nervous control. Remember, the question can come in terms of the factors, how cardiac function is controlled, or how the factors that influence the rate of heart contraction or the heart rate. So, or the factors that influence cardiac output. These are basically the same things. So the nerves play an important role. The nervous system play an important role in regulation of the heart rate. The autonomic nervous system, which is divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, play an important role in controlling the rate of the heart rate. So when you are frightened, the sympathetic nerves are the ones that release those hormones, the fright hormones that we have just talked about, for example, the noradrenaline. And this will increase the rate of heart rate, the rate of heartbeat. For the parasympathetic nervous system, or the parasympathetic nerves, especially the vagus nerve, it's the one we're talking about. When it is activated, it will slow down the rate of heartbeat. And this is done through acetylcholine, and this will reduce the rate of heartbeat. Okay? So that means that the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nerves act antagonistically. They oppose one another. Okay? So the accelerator nerve, part of the sympathetic nervous system, basically connected to the sinoatrial node. That's if the main switch is basically here. Okay, so these parasympathetic and the sympathetic nerves are connected to the sinoatrial node. That's where they control either increasing the heart rate or decreasing the heart rate or increasing the heart rate. Okay, that information, of course, comes from the brain, the medulla oblongata, under the cardiovascular center in the brain. Okay, so the brain is the one that interprets whether there is need to increase the heart rate or reduce it. So cardiac output is the volume of blood pumped out, volume of blood pumped out per minute. How many times does the heart contract per minute? How many beats per minute? It can be 90, it can be 70, 72 beats, 70, 90 beats per minute. Okay, the rate can vary. Okay, the rate of heartbeat can vary. So that means that the heart can beat several times in one minute. So if it beats several times in 1 minute, what volume of blood does it pump out per minute? That is what we call cardiac output. So we calculate that by having heart rate times the stroke volume. The stroke volume is the amount of blood that comes out every contraction, every heart contraction, every time the heart beats. The volume of blood pumped per beat, per heartbeat. So let us look at the factors that influence basically the cardiovascular system. Mainly, we encourage you to basically exercise. So what does exercise, what is the impact of exercise on the cardiovascular system? If you exercise regularly, you have long-term effects on exercise will have long-term effects on your cardiovascular health. But if imagine you get up and run around, these are the things that will happen. The cardiac output will increase because the heart will be beating faster. That means that even blood flow to the muscles and the skin, there will be redistribution of blood flow, the muscle and the skin. If you exercise, the muscles are exercising. I mean, they are basically active, metabolizing. So there is need to have blood going there, such that there is oxygen for that exercise. And then also blood flow to the skin will also increase because as you exercise, heat is generated and that heat needs to be dissipated. In the long run, these are the things that will happen. Your heart will increase in size. That is what we call heart hypertrophy. It increases in size. And when it increases in size, it means that the chambers actually increase in volume. And that means that the volume that you pump out per heartbeat actually increases. And then your heart rate actually goes down. Okay? Regular exercise reduces your heart rate and blood pressure. That's why you are encouraged to exercise. Okay? And then, of course, you have increase in blood volume and capillary density. What are the factors that influence heartbeat? We can categorize them into external factors and internal factors. When you have a lot of carbon dioxide in your body, the heart rate increases such that that carbon dioxide is removed from your body via the lungs. If you stay in areas where you have low oxygen concentration, areas with low oxygen levels, what will happen is that the heart will try to beat faster to make sure that oxygen is delivered to the tissues efficiently. When you have high carbon dioxide, the pH of blood will actually decrease. That means that it will actually be acidic. That means that the heart needs to beat faster to make sure that this is actually dealt with. Another thing that to get that carbon dioxide out and to make sure that the blood pH comes back. The other thing that can lower the blood pH is lactic acid. When you exercise, your body metabolizes glucose, but when you don't have enough oxygen, you will have lactic acid being produced, and that lowers the blood pH, and therefore it will increase the rate of heartbeat. Okay? Acidosis is a term that will refer to a situation where you have a reduced pH. Okay, other factors, ions, sodium, potassium, calcium. These ions play an important role in the contraction of the cardiac muscle. Okay, so that means that there should be the right balance. If you have a lot of potassium ions, the heart can actually stop working. So take note of that. Hormones, we already discussed this earlier on under hormonal control of heart rate. Okay, you exercise more, you lower the rate of heartbeat in a long term. But in a short term, when you just stand up and run, the heartbeat increases. But if you run regularly over time, your heart rate reduces. Okay? Emotional state, if someone frightens you, if you see a snake around, your heart goes up. Fight-flight mechanism. If the temperature is actually very high, it means that there's a lot of heat that needs to be dissipated, and therefore the heart rate has to increase to make sure that blood flows closer to the surface of the skin such that the heat can be lost.